Hey everyone, Cody here, and today I guess I'll get into how I kind of fell back into painting, and I'll also explain where I'm at with kind of my current situation with the painting. So the only reason I'm making these videos is because I made the mistake of going to the craft store with my wife. You know, my wife, my wife does crafts too. My wife actually makes jewelry. There's probably a link, if there's not a link in the description area. Oh, apparently my little workstation, my makeshift workstation has some paint on it. So let me get that cleaned up real quick. But anyway, my wife actually makes jewelry. And we were at the store, we were at Michael's, picking up some supplies for her. And, you know, I love supporting my wife. My wife has always supported me in all of my endeavors. So, you know, I love to try to support her in hers as well. You know, it's a mutual thing. It's kind of, I just got pain all over my arm, but it's kind of a mutual thing, right? I can't expect her to support me, but then also not support her. So, you know, after I kind of took a step back from painting, she actually got into, you know, making signs and stuff with the Cricut. And she also started doing jewelry. And again, I wanted to support that. So, you know, I like to support her, and, you know, she likes to give my opinion on things. And because of that, I went to the craft store with her a few days ago. And while we were there, you know, I'm just kind of wandering around, and I have to say that since I have not been painting, I have been very careful not to go to the section of the craft store where the paint is. Like, I have kind of gone out of my way not to go into that section because, you know, I told myself that I wasn't coming back to painting, at least anytime soon. And I wanted to kind of, you know, keep that promise, I guess, to myself. And so I've gone out of my way not to go over to the painting section since I stopped painting. And in fact, the reason that you're only kind of seeing a limited amount of tools right now, both in this video and the last, is because I actually threw out or gave away most of my painting supplies. I have probably a bucket and a half, maybe 2 buckets worth of supplies left. And I'm talking about everything. I threw all my paint away. I threw most of my tools away. You know, I threw a lot of the stuff that I used away because I guess in a way I was trying to like burn the ships, so to speak, where I was like, you know, if I don't have it anymore, what is that? Luckily we're on the base layer. I guess I thought that if I burn the ships, so to speak, I would never go back to painting again. And for, you know, for the last like year and a half, 2 years, whatever it's been, that was kind of successful. I haven't returned to painting even though people have asked me to. I have not gone back. And so I didn't for the longest time. And I was kind of proud of that fact. Like, I was proud that I hadn't gone back after this whole time. But I have to confess that there was a part of me that kind of missed it. I missed the, you know, the painting. I missed making the videos. I missed kind of all of it, really. And so when we were at the craft store the other day, I made the mistake of going down the painting aisle and looking at all the paints. And I just kind of froze there because I knew that if I bought any kind of supplies, because again, I've thrown everything out or donated it. I actually donated a lot of my supplies to, you know, other artists, to, you know, different people who, you know, also kind of want to paint or whatever, I gave a lot of my supplies away because I was like, you know what, if I'm not using them, I don't want the paint to dry out. I don't want it to go to waste. So I donated a lot of it. I threw a lot of it away. And that's kind of where I'm at. And so because I got rid of most of it, I just told myself, I was like, look, I know that if I buy any of these paints, I'm probably going to go, you know, make videos. I'm going to go paint again. And so I kind of wrestled with that for a few minutes. I actually picked up some of the paint and started kind of walking back to where my wife was, but then I actually set the paint down and went back to her, and I had nothing. And she was like, oh, you didn't want anything? You know, kind of like, not goading me, but, you know, she kind of knew. And I was like, no, I think I'm okay. And I was like trying to actually leave before I ended up buying paint. And she's like, are you sure? Like, and I'm like thinking about it and kind of wrestling with it. And I was like, you know what? I'll buy some paint. And so I did. And I just bought like one of these little packs of, I don't know, Liquitex Basics. It was like $40 something, I think. And it's just like a variety pack. I don't know, it had like 24 colors or something in it. And that's it. Like, I got that and I was kind of off to the races. So this is literally all the paint that I have, is a bunch of these little tubes, because, you know, I didn't want to kind of jump off the deep end and buy a bunch of paint that I wasn't going to use. And so I didn't want to invest a bunch of money into it if I didn't know how I would feel coming back, right? I didn't know if I was going to enjoy it. I didn't want to, you know, buy a bunch of paint and then I come back and I'm like, ugh, you know, I don't miss it. I didn't want to make an investment that wasn't sound. And so I bought some, you know, I bought this little pack, and I was like, if I enjoy it and I want to kind of come back, maybe it's a little more relaxed. But if I want to make that decision to come back, you know, I want it to be organic. I want it to be authentic, is probably the better word for it. And so I bought that little thing of paint, and then I brought it home, and I actually tried to make a painting the first night that I bought the stuff. And it actually did not turn out very good. And it sucks too, because I had recorded the whole thing. It was like 20 minutes long, and it just wasn't, it was not a good painting. And it wasn't the colors. I think I just kind of had to relearn the process, if you will. So I did. I kind of went over it, and I decided, and it's funny because I did that painting and I was like, well, the painting wasn't good, so maybe I'm not coming back after all. But I felt like that wasn't kind of a fair assessment, right? Just because I had one bad painting didn't mean that they were all doomed. You know, like just because I had one bad painting, I was going to throw out all of the paintings because of that. I couldn't do that, not in good consciousness. So I gave it a day or so, I waited, and then I was like, okay, I'll come back and I will try to paint again, and we'll kind of see where we go. And so I just made that last video. Actually, I'm probably spaced the videos out, but I just made that last one, and I actually really liked it. And this one actually, I was kind of not liking it before, but now actually this painting's kind of growing on me. You know, we'll see. But I guess that's the nature of it, right? You don't know until you do it. And I think that this is actually really apt for kind of this painting right here, because, you know, that first painting and that first video, I was like, well, you know, obviously I'm not meant to come back. You know, this painting not turning out was kind of proof of that. That first painting, then when I first got the supplies, it wasn't good. And I was like, well, I was going to base kind of how I felt about coming back on that. But again, I don't think it's fair to kind of base your, you know, your outlook on one event. So I decided, okay, I'll give it another chance tonight. Came back out here and made the last one, and I actually really liked it. And it's kind of nice. I feel like I'm at a place where if I came back, I could enjoy it. But it would have to kind of be on my own terms. You see, when I left the first time, when I left, 2 years ago or whatever it was, I was to the point where I was just making the videos just to make them. It's not like it was my job, so I didn't have to make them. But there's something inside of me that felt compelled to make them because I didn't want to let people down, if that makes sense. And so I just kept making the videos out of, I guess, guilt. Like I had to make them. Like I would let people down if I wasn't making them. And so I just kept making videos, kept making videos, kept making videos, kept making videos, even if I didn't enjoy them. And now I'm to the point where I'm like, I don't want to do that, right? If I don't enjoy it, then what's the point? And that's just kind of where I'm at. And I think it's a, kind of a healthy way to look at it. And I also had gotten to the point, I think I mentioned this in the last video, was that I was also making videos that I thought other people wanted to see, right? So I guess it's maybe a YouTube specific thing, or maybe for content creators specific, is that when you start to make content that gets noticed, you kind of have this tendency to continue to make that content because it got noticed, if that makes sense. So because it was what was getting views, I kept making that content because it was getting views. But even that, like over time, faded. So after a while, even those, like that content that I was making initially that was getting views, wasn't even getting views. So I was really just making content that wasn't even getting views that I was hoping would get the views, if that makes sense. And I was unhappy with those paintings that I was making. Like I thought that making those paintings would make me happy because other people were happy, right? I thought by making the viewers happy, I could make myself happy. But the truth is if you only make stuff that other people want, then you're not going to be happy, right? You'll just kind of make stuff, but your soul's maybe not in it. And I understand some people do commission work and, you have to make things to pay the bills, or, even in a sense of a vocation. Sometimes you have to work a job you really don't like because you got to pay the bills. I understand that. I've been there. But at that time, I was not in that place where I had to make the content that other people wanted. I just chose to. And so when I left, I was like, I can't do that again. I can't. And I appreciate every person that's ever watched my videos and given me any kind of watch time, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't even have kept going as long as I did. However, I can't just discount the fact that if my heart's not in it, then what's even the point of making the paintings, right? Or the videos. So if I don't enjoy it, then there's no point in even doing it. And I could just put the videos out, but like I said in my last video, people would know and nobody would enjoy it. So ultimately, that's kind of where I was initially when I left. And now I'm just like, well, if I come back, it's going to be whenever. I'll just post when I can. I don't want to be pressured into making any kind of content that I don't want to make, or any kind of type of painting that I don't want to make. I really enjoy scrape paintings. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's very cathartic to me, and it's just what I enjoy. So if I come back, that's probably what a bulk of these videos are going to be. I don't plan on doing any Richter painting, any Jackson Pollock paintings, because I don't even own house paint anymore. And it was very destructive to my property with how much paint I got everywhere throwing that paint. So I don't intend to make any more of those types of paintings, just FYI. But ultimately, this is it for this painting, guys. I have enjoyed your company, and I'm going to flip this around so you can kind of see it here. This is the final piece. Like I said, I actually like it. I don't think I can zoom out anymore, but there it is. Yeah, I actually kind of like it. And I don't know if I'll ever post these again because my website is no longer around. I actually let the domain expire, so you can't even buy my paintings anymore. But if you're interested, I guess you can message me. I probably have links somewhere, or you could just leave a comment or something. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, I've enjoyed kind of coming back a little bit, and I'll probably make a couple more. I've got enough paint, I think, in these little tubes to make a few more paintings. So, you know, we'll see where it gets us. But ultimately, that's it. I appreciate your time and company and your viewership. It means a lot to me. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye, guys.